So now we're actually ready to do our preview of our science text. We're really focused on section 1 today, but it's the beginning of the chapter. So we're going to start a little earlier. So right now, if you could get your textbook and turn to page 8, we're going to take a peek of that. I have some scanned copies as well. So on page 8, we have this chapter preview, which is so great because it gives us an idea of what the whole chapter is about, right? The previewing is partially done for us. So let's take a look at. In this chapter, you will find out about how archaeologists learn about the past. You will also learn about the connections between geography and history. And right away, I want to activate what I know. Where have I learned about archaeology before? The term fossils comes right to mind. Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius for me. And also, when I think about geography, I think about how the Earth's tectonic plates shift and move. I don't know if that's necessarily what they're going to talk about in the chapter, but again, it's really important to activate what you know so you can attach the new information to it. All right, let's now look at the infographic that you have on page 9. And this is not just a picture of the world, but the red lines in it show how modern humans may have originated more than 100,000 years ago in Africa before spreading to other parts of the world. I didn't know that. And that's a pretty big piece of information for me. So I always want to take a moment and read at least the beginning of the caption that comes with the infographic. All right, let's go ahead and see what we have next. Let me double check my previewing sheet. Okay, and I have the objectives, the key terms, the red headings, the blue subheadings, light blue if I need them, but I've already previewed the key terms, obviously visuals and captions, and then I recommend that you go to the introduction and the links to science to build interest because we know how important that interest is. So let's head back into our text and look at the objectives. And remember, we said you can turn these into your purpose questions. So the first objective is learn what tools are used to understand history. Well, that sounds really interesting to me, and I think I might know some of them. Find out the connections between geography and history. Well, now that I looked at that infographic with people migrating from Africa throughout the rest of the world, I realize that that's important too. Let's head over here and look at our key terms. Remember, we're not going to read all the definitions. We're just going to notice what's unfamiliar. History, prehistory. Let me take a look at that. The time before writing was invented. I didn't even know there was a prehistory. Archaeologists, I've heard of that before. Oral traditions, that's storytelling. And then let's just pretend we don't know how to say this word here. Maybe I want to say geography, and I'm not sure if that's right. I'm going to look at the pronunciation key, and I'll go one syllable at a time. Geography. Geography. Oh, I get it now. So I didn't even do a very good job pronouncing that to begin with. But you may encounter harder language that you might want to use that for. Here is your introduction. But remember I said I'm saving it for the end because I think it's really interest building and I don't really want to take time to read something this long right now. But if you like, you can jump in and read that first paragraph. I do want to check out this caption. A scientist recovers the body of the ancient Iceman from a glacier in the Alps. Okay, so now we have the left side of the book here that we just previewed. And then I talked about these red headings. They're usually pretty short descriptions underneath. So I think they're a great way to start previewing. If it's really long, I might just choose to use the first paragraph. Understanding history. The scientist's curiosity about the Iceman's life was natural. As human beings, we are curious about our earliest origins. That might be a word gap for me. I don't know what the word origin means. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, there's something the author assumed you knew. What was life like many thousands of years ago? Oh, I could even maybe steal that for my purpose question. Now we're going to take a look at these bolded headings, and I've decided that I'm not actually going to look at the light blue key terms because I feel like I did a pretty good job previewing them, although I might practice saying that final word again. Before and after writing, well, when I was previewing those key terms, I know that before writing was prehistory. Digging up the past. Oh, maybe they used items since they didn't have anything written down. Here are the links to science. All right, let's head on to our next page. I'll give you a second to turn to it. I have the caption here, and it says prehistoric rock painting in South Africa. Again, pre-writing. History, a record in writing, a record of spoken word. Okay, and I'm moving along. I notice that they have some reading checks for me. That might help my comprehension. That's a friendly feature. And here I have another picture. Let's look at the caption. Carrying on a tradition. In West Africa, a professional storyteller called I need the pronunciation key here, griot. Oh, you don't say the T. Called a griot keeps oral traditions alive. I'm not going to read this bottom part here. My preview is going to be relatively quick. All right, so that was the left side of the page. Now I'm going to come over here to the right. Here's a time when our red area is a little lengthy. So we're going to just jump in, linking geography and history. I don't know a lot about this, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Knowing when something happened is important. Understanding why historic events took place is also important. To do this, historians have also turned to geography. Oh, I bet they study the evolution of the earth, its dirt, and everything. I think you can hear your teachers laughing and having a good old time in the backyard. Some of them are your social studies and science teachers. Here we have a farm in Egypt's Nile Delta. Really, that's the end of our section, but I did want to pop into this last page and look at an extra skill that they have in here for timelines. Let's take a look at this infographic. From prehistory to today, this really lays out a visual for me. I want to look at that caption. National Archives Building, Washington, D.C., which houses the Declaration of Independence. So, a lot of information here. And now it's time for you to set your own purpose. What is it that you want to find out about? And remember, you can use your objectives. I found a question early on in here. We forgot about the introduction. This is really going to build interest. Now it's time. And this big capital letter indicates it's an introduction and there's no heading. He is called the Iceman. His frozen body was found in a mountain pass in the Alps on the Italian-Austrian border in Europe. Oh, now I remember hearing about this frozen man, and I want to find out more information about it. You can also, if you have time, pop over to here and read some information about us discovering the cause of death. I hope this helped you. Go ahead and set that purpose question.